Listen, every poem I write begins long before the pen ever touches paper. I used to think poetry began with ink. I was wrong. It begins with people. A handshake, a passing conversation, a goodbye that lingered long after the person had already left. That's where the first line begins. People ask me where my words come from as if language is something I create, but I don't. I don't write from imagination, I write from introduction because every line remembers someone, every metaphor carries a memory, every stanza still echoes a voice I once knew. Maybe that's why my poems have never really felt like mine. They're borrowed, on loan from every soul who crossed my path and unknowingly left behind a verse. The other day, I opened an old notebook. Half a page filled with words, then suddenly nothing. A stretch of white space resting quietly between two thoughts. I stared at it, trying to remember what I had forgotten until I realized I hadn't forgotten a single word. Life simply had introduced me to the rest of the story. That space was never empty, it was waiting. Waiting for a conversation I hadn't lived yet, a goodbye I hadn't grieved yet, a stranger I hadn't recognized as family yet, a version of myself I hadn't met yet. Maybe that's what exists between us. Not distance, not silence, possibility. The unwritten space where strangers become memories, where memories become meaning, and meaning becomes poetry. So now I leave room. Not because I run out of words, but because I've learned that every blank space is a promise. I promise that somewhere someone is already walking toward my next poem, and until they arrive, I'll keep writing. I'll keep listening. I'll keep living. I'll keep leaving room because most beautiful stories don't begin when you find the right words. They begin when you find the right people, or even when they find us. Maybe that's why every poem I write begins long before the pen ever touches paper. That's the space between us.